Packing for any trip can leave you feeling stressed and overwhelmed and exhausted. And raise your hand if you've ever been at the airport schlepping your big suitcases and instantly feeling regret about the amount of stuff you brought. Plus, I know firsthand, no judgment here, it is frustrating to carry all that stuff, keep it organized on your trip, and then let's just call it what it is, how miserable it is to do the unpacking if we overpack when we get home. It looks like a bomb went off in the house and sometimes takes weeks to recover simply because we brought too much. That is not a good way to start or end a vacation. Today, I'm going to share with you how you can simplify the packing process beyond measure. And trust me, as someone, again, who used to chronically overpack, I have simplified beyond belief. Now, I'm not talking about going full minimalist and like putting everything in a backpack for a year-long trip, right? You can do that if you want with a lot of the tips I'm sharing, but if you just want to take one or two takeaways to simplify for subsequent trips you have, do it. All the tips I'm sharing with you today, I just used, and I use every time I travel, but I just used on a 2-week trip to Europe with my family. We had weather ranging from the 40s to the 80s, so quite a wide variety. I fit everything in a carry-on with room to spare, and I loved every second of it. I think sometimes when we think about simplifying our wardrobe, we feel restrictive, like what if I need more, or what if I don't have enough outfits? But the reality is, if you use a lot of the tips I share with you, you're gonna maximize your outfits. You're gonna have outfits that you didn't even have time to wear because everything is cohesive, and we'll talk more about that in just a second. One of my favorite quotes that inspired me to pack more simply several years ago, as I decluttered and simplified my home life, I wanted to apply that to travel too. My favorite travel show host, Rick Steves, says this: remember, in your travels, you meet two kinds of tourists, those who pack light and those who wish they had. And I think we can all agree. In a minute, we're going to hit some really unique suggestions that you probably haven't heard about when simplifying packing, but give me just a second because I would be remiss if we didn't talk about the basics, right? Sometimes when we forget the basics, it causes us to overpack. So number one, asking yourself, what will the weather be like? You probably do this anyway, but if you, like me, are going to a place where it ranges, there's a large range of temperature, that's going to change what you take. If you go to the Caribbean and it's 75 degrees in the morning and 75 degrees at night, you're not going to have to take extra layers, okay? So I know it's obvious, but let's start there. What activities do we have planned? Of course, is going to influence what you wear. What is my suitcase limitation? Maybe if last time you took a trip, you took a checked bag and it was overwhelming and you felt like you took too much. This trip, I would challenge yourself to say, I'm going to fit everything I'm going to take in a carry-on. It's nice to know your physical limitation because that's going to, of course, influence how much you bring. And if you bring a smaller suitcase, it's going to force you to have to step outside your comfort zone. But I promise you, these tips are going to help that we're going to be talking about. What was my favorite outfit that I wore last time I traveled? And what did I not wear, or what did I regret packing? We've all had those moments where we're unzipping our luggage when we get home from a trip and we're like, dang it, I didn't even wear this, or I knew I shouldn't have brought this. Oh, I just lugged this all over the place for no good reason. If you tend to take repeat vacations, family vacations, like you go to the beach every year, look back at photos on your phone, look at what you were wearing, and alternatively think, well, what didn't I wear? And don't pack those things. Will I have access to a washer and dryer? Hear me out. I love doing laundry on vacations. A laundry reset is one of the most gratifying, satisfying things when I am traveling. So if I know I'm going to be gone for longer than 5 days, I plan to either hit up a laundromat or to stay in an Airbnb that has a washer and dryer accessible. This is what we did in Europe. I packed about 6-7 days of worth of outfits and clothes. And then I knew on day 7 of our 14-day trip, we'd be hitting a laundromat, which we did in, what city were we in? Colmar, France. And it was so fast. It only took like an hour and a half from start to finish. And I mean, I drank my coffee, ate a baguette, did what you do in France, and just enjoyed the process. It's not as bad as it seems sometimes. And you really don't need a ton of clothes if you're taking a longer trip if you do laundry. There are just so many benefits to it. So based on all of these things, especially the laundry aspect, whether me and my family are traveling for 5 days or 30 days, we pack the same amount of clothes. And I love it. All right, so let's talk about some of these really helpful strategies that are going to help you simplify beyond belief. Number one, I love easy to remember rules because they stick in our heads. They're easy to remember. They're fun. And it's just like, it's a kind of a template to follow, if you will. So a few years ago, I discovered the 5-4-3-2-1 packing method. You can Google it. Every different kind of blogger or stylist has their own variation based on their clothing lifestyle. So in a nutshell, the one I followed, the 5 and 5-4-3-2-1 stood for 5 tops, 4 bottoms, 3 outer layers, 2 pairs of shoes, and 1 dress. Now, I tend to not wear a ton of dresses in my day-to-day life. life. I do have a handful of dresses in my closet. I tend to wear them more on vacations just because they're easy to throw on. It's one and done. And so I packed a dress on my trip. If you don't care to wear dresses, make that something else. Make your one a one purse or a one fun accessory, right? You can make it your own, which is the beauty of this template. And by the way, if you already have a wardrobe that is like a capsule wardrobe or where a lot of the things already mix and match, this is going to be even easier for you because ideally the things you are putting together go with one another in a really cohesive way. Even if you don't have what you would consider a capsule wardrobe, you can still do this pretty easily. It just might take a little more planning on the front end. So for the 5 tops for me, I chose 2 what I call base layers, like a tank top, a white tank top, and a white t-shirt. All right, easy peasy, neutral colors. I could throw my 2 button downs. I had a white button down and a blue and white striped button down on top, put them over my shoulders. I could tie it in a unique way, and all of a sudden the outfit feels different, or I have an extra layer if I'm somewhere where it's in the 50s compared to when it's in the 80s later in the day. I can tie it around my waist, right? So this picture right here is in Lauterbrunnen. This is on like day 6 of our travel, I think. So I wore this same outfit as my pajamas. I did not pack true pajamas because I don't like one-use things. So yeah, it was a little stinky maybe on day 6, 7 before I did laundry, but like I didn't care. It was all good and it looked cute, right? How would you wear that during the day? And then I also brought a sweatshirt. For 4 bottoms, I brought a pair of jeans, as you can see here, but ultimately I gravitated a lot more towards these black polyester pants. This is my husband and I in Zurich in front of the beautiful roses. I love these. They travel so well. They don't wrinkle. They are quick dry. I am a messy eater and I tend to like get ketchup on myself. Even if I don't eat something with ketchup, I'm like, how do I have ketchup on my pants? That is me. I am like a child. Another reason I love those pants is because if I did get something or when I did get something, I just like got a little napkin, put some water on it and like brushed it off. They are amazing. And they also had an elastic waistband. So if I wanted to eat an extra baguette, like no guilt here, no buttons. Okay, I loved it. So 1 pair of jeans, I brought 1 pair of joggers, which you saw, and 2 pairs of shorts. So again, that 4 bottoms actually became 5 for me. I was good with that and I wouldn't have changed it. Again, because we had such a wide temperature variety, that's why I decided to pack 2 shorts instead of 1. Could I have done 1? Yeah, sure, but I wanted to. The 3 is for 3 different outer layers. Technically, I guess you could consider my sweatshirt, which is in my tops, as an outer layer. That's mostly what I used it for. And then I just brought a heavier jacket. So that I just brought 2 for that category. Here I am wearing said jacket and a hat I packed for these cold days I knew we'd have. This is me on top of a glacier in Lauterbrunnen, Switzerland. It was a life-changing experience. I loved every second of it. And I am so grateful I packed that hat and jacket. 2 shoes. I brought casual white sneakers, and then I brought athletic sneakers that I'd wear for travel and just anything day to day. If I knew we'd be walking a lot or hiking, I threw those on for a little more ankle support. And wrapping up for the one dress, I brought 1 dress. Here I am in multiple cities wearing the same dress, which I loved. Again, if it was cooler, I threw on a white button down on top and I loved it. It was so simple. And I wore that top in a lot of other ways as well. And the benefit of saving some space in whatever suitcase you bring, whatever size, and not having it crammed full is you have room for souvenirs. Now, I found this beautiful green dress when I was over there in Zurich and I nabbed it and I loved it. So I really got an additional piece of clothing when I was there. Now, earlier I hinted at mixing and matching, and here's what I love when we're able to do this is it makes your clothes work like 1,000 times harder for you. Think about it. If you can't wear an item more than 4 or 5 different ways, and you are taking, especially an extended trip like I was, I won't even take it. I won't consider it. That is a boundary I put in place simply because it's not going to work hard enough for me. And that could be another rule or guideline you put in place for yourself. Of course, make it your own. Okay, now I'm going to get into some rapid fire strategies here. So take notes. If you're multitasking, come back to me. Number 1, bring a laundry bag or a trash bag for dirty clothes. Some travelers like to use compression bags that you can throw your dirty clothes in. You squeeze the air out, you roll them up. They save space on the back end and they help contain the smell. So if you won't be doing laundry or if you know you're going to have stinky clothes left over at the end of your trip, either 3 of these suggestions are going to help. We just bring a regular laundry bag, which we also, by the way, use on laundromat day to help us get our laundry to and fro. Serves multiple purposes and it just contains the dirty from the clean. So that way when you get home, you don't have to clean everything, even if it's not dirty. All right, game changing. I mentioned this earlier, but consider not packing pajamas. I don't pack like true pajamas for myself. My husband doesn't wear true pajamas, and my kids just wear like athletic shorts and a t-shirt, just like I do for pajamas on trips. Whether we're going to the beach, going to Europe, or taking a road trip like nearby, I don't pack them anymore. Rolling clothes actually does save space. I did like so much research. I had like nerded out and spent hours on Google late at night when I was trying to plan packing for this trip. Does rolling clothes actually save space? Yes, especially if you have a traditional suitcase like a lot of us have with the handle, right? That handle, when it goes down, it creates those little nooks and crannies within the luggage. This is perfect for rolling smaller items like tank tops, t-shirts, swimsuits, and the like. And actually another hack I started doing was I started rolling my jewelry, especially my necklaces, inside of a t-shirt, and then I would put that in between my handles inside the luggage. This prevented the dreaded necklace and jewelry tangle craziness, which it's not fun to experience that on a trip or at home. Kind of served two purposes in one. Now for bulkier items like sweaters, blazers, and sometimes even jeans, it can still be helpful to lay those flat. So I rolled as much as humanly possible toward the bottom and just kind of made layers. On top, I laid my bulkier items. Worked like a charm. And let's take a moment to talk about shoes really quick. I know it can be really tempting before a trip to start to buy a lot of new things to wear on said trip. So you have photos looking amazing. But the reality is we need to shop our closets. I know you do, in your closet or in your dresser, you have some amazing pieces. You need to let them come out, bring them to life, and enjoy them on your trip, let alone in your day-to-day. But from a shoe aspect, please do yourself a favor. Never wear brand new shoes on a trip because hello, blisters. That ain't fun, especially if you are walking a lot. So just a little tip there, save your feet, okay? The next tip is to create a packing list. I started mentally packing about a month before our 2-week trip to Europe, and I started pulling pieces out of my closet that I thought would be great based on the weather and the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method, all the things we've talked about so far. To make sure I liked them, I wore them. I work from home, so I wore them for working at home to make sure they felt good, I was comfortable in them, and that I would actually wear them. Again, sometimes we bring things on vacation thinking, I'm going to wear that. The reality is we tend to wear our favorite things and gravitate towards similar things anyway. Another creative idea, again, it's not going to be for everyone, is to kind of live out of that suitcase, only using those items for 4 or 5 days or however long you're going to be traveling. It is the quickest way to cut through the clutter and for you to figure out what you're actually going to wear. Again, the idea is so we don't pack so much. I mentioned earlier about my polyester pants, right? So let's talk about fabrics. That is a great way to simplify your packing, is to pack fabrics that pack well, don't wrinkle, unless of course you love linen, which wrinkles naturally, but you do you. Dry quickly and work for multiple activities. It's so brilliant. So here are some different travel fabrics at a glance. So number 1 and 2, nylon, and you guessed it, polyester. These are both quick drying fabrics. So let's say you are taking a camping trip or a backpacking trip. Any other people here who like to backpack? Yeah. So if you ever find yourself in a situation where you want or have to hand wash things, these fabrics dry really fast. So if you wash them in the sink and let them dry overnight, bam, they're going to be dry, completely dry for you to repack in the morning and get back on your backpacking adventure. They're also wrinkle resistant, lightweight, and again, just amazing. Number 3 is merino jersey. Merino can be dressed up or down, which I love when we can do that. It resists odors, it helps regulate temperature, and like all these great qualities that we like in travel fabrics. 4 is wool. If you are going to a colder climate, going to Canada, going skiing, wool is great. It wicks sweat and it's particularly resistant to wear and odor. It's a great long-term option. Number 5 is rayon knits. They are lightweight, great for packing, great for layering, dress up and down, soft, breathable, all the things you would want in a piece of clothing. Cotton is one of my favorites. I love 100% cotton. Basically anything. They're breathable, it's comfortable, absorbs moistures and smells, and tends to dry quickly, though not as quickly as nylon and polyester. And linen can be, again, dressed up or down, breathable, great for warmer climates, but it does wrinkle easy, as a lot of us know. So if you don't want a picture of you standing in front of the Eiffel Tower in a wrinkly outfit, I wouldn't bring linen in your suitcase. Let's break down some tips for plane travel. Now, if you are taking a plane trip, I highly encourage you wear the bulkiest items on the plane. This heavier jacket I wore a lot in Switzerland. I wore that on the plane, and guess what? If I got warm, I just took it off and put it behind my back, and it acted as a little lumbar support, a little back support, which we all need on an airplane flight, especially a 10-hour one. I wore one set of sneakers and just put one in my suitcase instead of two sneakers in my suitcase to save space. And I really got out of that just in case mentality. If you want to simplify your packing, it starts up here, right? If you are in scarcity mode, what if I need that? What if I want to wear it? Guess what? You will survive over in Europe or at the beach or down the road at the motel without some of the things in your house. You can always buy things there, especially consumable items, shampoo, conditioner, sunscreen. All the things can be purchased probably where you are. Use what the hotel and Airbnb have to offer. Now, my hair, you can see it. It's wavy. It kind of has a mind and life of its own some days. I brought my own conditioner. That is one thing I know my hair needs on a trip. I just use a reusable 2 or 3 ounce tube that I got from like the dollar store. Okay. And when we were at the Airbnbs or hotels we were at, we used the items that they had. And guess what? If I changed my mind and decided my hair wasn't working with the Airbnb shampoo, I could go out and get a little one at the local pharmacy in France or wherever we were. Remember, with a plan in place, you can feel confident that packing and your travel experience is going to be a lot less stressful and way more enjoyable. And I tell you what, there is nothing quite as satisfying as unpacking from a trip where everything's simple and it takes minutes instead of hours, days, or weeks. And when we travel with less, it allows us to focus on the experience and not all the stuff. If you want that same confidence for the rest of your home, make sure to click that video on your screen now.